So today I'm here testing.
What's up? What's happening? Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching my video. I know if you clicked on this video, you probably are curious about finding out ways of how to prevent pregnancy or fertilization or whatever. But today I'm specifically going to talk about cycle tracking. So cycle tracking forms one of the natural ways of preventing pregnancy. If you do not want to have a baby for whatever reason, I'm not here to judge. I always say that. By the way, this is coffee. I love coffee. My name is Sister Oz. If you don't know my videos, please go check them out. I talk a lot about feminine stuff. I talk about spirituality, about Rastafari and stuff like that. So back to the business at hand. Now, cycle tracking, before anything, I just want to break down what a menstrual cycle is. So a menstrual cycle, briefly summarized, is activities that happen that promote change in the endometrium as well as in the uterus. So these activities allow for reproduction to happen. But in this instance, we are not looking for reproduction to happen. We are looking to, I don't know, block reproduction, because we cannot reverse it unless you check out my other video. I'll leave the link below. I'm still gonna make a video about terminating pregnancies and what I feel about it, especially around the moral issue and the weaponization of it. I don't want to get into that, but I'm still gonna make that video. As soon as I have that, I'll put it in this video's description. Anyway, so we got a gist of what a menstrual cycle is. So a menstrual cycle is the days in between, like from day 1 to day 30, or day 28, or day 21, day whatever. We've got different menstrual cycles, lengths, and I, for instance, my menstrual cycle has changed and has evolved with the years. And like, I started off with a longer cycle, now my cycle is much shorter and stuff like that. So to, like, right now as we're speaking, I'm on a 28-day cycle. So how you know the number of your days in the cycle is you track from the first day you see red, the first day you're on your period. That is your first day. That is the menstrual cycle. And from that day until the next menstrual cycle, that is your menstrual cycle length. So you should count how many days are in between those, the first day you see red and the next month you see red, right? I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, drop me a link. I'll give a further explanation or give you a link to my blogs, because I blog about these as well. So now with menstrual tracking, it's very important to be precise and as well as to be vigilant. So what I do is, even if, for instance, a menstrual cycle day is a day where it's said to be a safe day, I like to move it like 2 days before. Like, for instance, if ovulation happens at day 10, everybody says day 10. I started day 8 just to be extra sure and extra vigilant and extra, preventative, and control to a certain extent. To a certain extent, you have control over these things, especially if it's you. What we need to do is to just understand. So the first day is your. So I don't want to talk about the technicalities of the names of the phases, but just for information purposes, I'll just do it a quick 2 minutes about it. So there's four phases in the menstrual cycle. So as I mentioned earlier, when I was defining what a menstrual cycle is, it's the activities and the regular changes that happen in your endometrium, which is the uterus. The uterus, the place where the baby is going to be implanted, or the embryo is going to be implanted, where the baby grows, and as well as the activities that happen in your ovaries, right? So the things that happen, the activities that happen in your ovaries are the activities that are actually going to play a large role in ovulating, right? Because the first these 4 phases, because I'm getting lost and stuff. These 4 phases are the menstrual phase. I'm not going to go into them. If you want me to go into the deeper into them, let me know. The menstrual phase, the follicular phase. This is the phase where the follicles that are going to be released as an egg that's going to be implanted. This is the follicular phase, and then there's the ovulation phase, and then there's the luteal phase, right? So the most important of these phases, the one that many people care about, is menstrual, because we all see red and we understand that things is happening in the womb and the uterus. And then there's also ovulation, which is the one that is going to be the center stage of this video's performance, if you will. So from day 1 up until day depending on a lot of people, I'd say day 7, I see my red for 3 days, the most 3 days, sometimes 2 days. When I've had a good month and I was taking care of myself and I was moving, I was eating right and stuff. 2 days. But anyway, so for let's just say the menstrual phase, 7 days. First, the menstrual phase starts from day 1 up until day, I'll say 10. And it also is accompanied by the follicular phase, because during this phase, this is when, so menstruation happens because there was no embryo implanted into the endometrium lining. So the endometrium lining has to shed. And while the endometrium lining is shedding, now this is the time again for the cycle to begin. And it began in the luteal phase, which is the 14 days before you saw your menstruation. So it was starting with healing, which is the I think it's the corpus luteum, which becomes the corpus albicans. Correct me, any nurses or doctors in the audience, if you may, but I don't think I'm mistaken. So the healing in the luteal phase, and then when we get to the bleeding, that's when it starts its process all over again. Now in the follicular phase, in the ovaries, a lot of things are happening. A lot of science is happening. I don't want to get into the technicalities. I maybe would go and make a separate video for that, because this video, I don't want it to be that long because of technicalities. So the menstrual phase and the follicular phase more or less run alongside each other. But it's not important to know all of these. The only thing that is important is that from day 1, when you see your rate, up until day, I'd say day 8, that is your open window for you to. It's when you're traveling and you're driving and you see the green roads, green traffic lights. So that's what it means. Like you go ahead. You can. I wouldn't advise it. You can have as much unprotected intimacy as you want to with your partner, if you will. I'll try to keep it safe. Sometimes I allow myself to have those mistakes during that window. But from day 8, for me, most people say day 10. From day 8, I start to become extra vigilant. Extra vigilant means that I would make sure that I have morning after pills in the house. I'd make sure that I have a condom. I'm condomizing. And if it happens that I didn't condomize morning after pills, stuff like that, but I try to stay away from sex. During this, because it's just day 10, 11, 12. Okay, let's say 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's just 6 days. Let's say 15, 7 days. It's just 1 week. 1 week of you just doing your life, living your best life, forgetting about private parts of the other gender and stuff like that. So, for those 7 days, from day 9 up until day 15, no go zone. It is the no go zone. If you're going into the zone, make sure that you have ways to prevent any mistakes or oopsie babies. So I made a video about preventing oopsie babies. I'm gonna include it in the link in the description. I'm gonna include a link in the description of that video. So now that we've reached the ovulation phase, which is the 7 days that you need to be aware of and be alert of, now comes the phases after day 15 or day 16. Now, from day 16, you can live your best life. That's all you need to know. You can live your best life. You can have as much unprotected sex as you can, because you cannot, like, nothing can happen because you cannot reverse. Once the ovulation, or what is it called, the ideal fertilization window during the ovulation period would be from day 12 to day 14. Let's take day 11 to day 12, because as the further the days go, it's less possibilities for there to be fertilization, because the cervix becomes more acidic, making it harder for making it less hospitable for sperms, right? So the body just blocks everything, and then life happens again. So from day 16 to your next day, when you see your periods, you can live your best life. You can have as much sex as you want to, unprotected if you wanna. But from, like, take it from me, a bigger sister, rather be careful, because in most instances, when you're working with natural things, you will never know how and when your cycle decides to adjust. So as soon as you maybe are aware of how your cycle goes, because in most instances you can also tell how and where your cycle is, by the feeling in your body when you're experiencing. For instance, when I'm about to get my periods, I know that I break out, my nipples get sensitive, I see a lot of discharge, clear, non-stinky discharge. I see. What else do I notice? A bit of discomfort, but not a lot. Just to get to understand that something's about to happen. So you get to feel those kind of things. But I think I'll make videos about the different phases and what goes along with them, because they're accompanied by hormones, and they're accompanied by all these things that maybe when we like, for people who have issues with PMS and stuff, they could be able to deal with PMS in that way, right? So I hope this video was informative and it was able to shed some light. And if it wasn't, let me know what you would like to know more of. I'm not a nurse or a doctor or a gynae, but I am a woman who is very interested in women works, and I do a lot of womb work with myself. And I'm figuring, since I'm maturing in this, I might have information that other women would like to use. I needed that, and I had a lot of sisters. I was lucky enough to have a lot of sisters to share this light with me, and I'm giving back the same gift that was given to me. So take it with a pinch of salt, make your own research. I'm just here to plant some seeds. I'm not here to speak with a voice of certainty. I'm just shedding some light. So look out for my other videos where I break down these 4 different phases of the menstrual cycle into detail, and I will be mentioning the hormones that go into them, the kind of feelings that you have, the emotions that you have during the different phases, and we'll take it from there. And I feel like the different yoga type of yoga exercises, the yoga flows, and I could recommend the different yoga poses or flows that I use when I'm in the different phases, especially when I'm going through from the ovulation phase until until I get back into my menstrual phase. That's when I get to feel a lot. Like, that's when my body goes through the most. Like, you see, I break out. I go through them. I just feel a certain way. And the perfect thing about me is that I was blessed enough to be guided to know that if the certain in your body, when you're going through certain things, there's certain foods that you can consume. So using a biological clock, if you may, a feminine biological clock, if you may. So if you would like to know more about the feminine biological clock as well, let me know. I'm happy to support. So catch you in the next video, people. I am so glad to be sharing this information with you. Love. See you later.
We are evolving.